There's been some videos going around showing BYD cars burning to the ground. There is quite a few that this has happened with. And the videos from YouTubers who love to clickbait you with anything and usually have very little knowledge or understanding of the products they're talking about show or claim to be showing BYD's electric cars setting themselves on fire. Well, it turns out, as I've said numerous times in several videos that I've made, it's not BYD's electric cars that are having problems. BYD's cars are certainly having some pretty major issues in China, as well recent surveys have shown. But it's got nothing to do with the batteries and everything to do with the other part of the car, the fuel system. Hello my friends, welcome to the channel. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Sam Evans and I'm the Electric Viking. Guys, thanks for subscribing. Great to have your support. Thank you so much. And to all the new subscribers, we have done nearly 4,000 videos over the past 2 years since we started the channel. Make sure you check out some of those. BYD's fuel tanks, they're a major problem. How do we know that's true? Is it true? Is this just media hype? Is this media speculation? Well, no, it's not. We know this is true because there's actually an independent website that has no connection to any car maker that I know of whatsoever, doesn't advertise for any car maker. It's called 12365auto.com. BYD led the list of the most complained about models of car last month, according to the customer complaint tracker on the website. Basically, the website is set up to log customer complaints in a way that the idea is that they can lobby brands to be able to fix these issues. I think it's a really good idea. However, the interesting thing is here, it exposed what's really going on. And this is what I've said a number of times. It's not BYD's electric cars, fully electric cars, that are suddenly self-combusting and setting themselves on fire. In these clickbait videos that people keep on sending me, please, for the love of God, stop sending them to me. I'm getting a lot of emails, and when I get sent these things, it's really quite irritating because I've made several videos refuting these claims. As you'll see in these videos, it's not BYD's EVs being shown. The presenters don't even know the difference between BYD's EVs and their plug-in hybrids. They wouldn't know the first thing about the battery technology or the types of car models they're even looking at. As you can see in this list here, the BYD Song Plus plug-in hybrid is the most problematic car in China right now, with 1,182 issues around this car. That's a lot, because that's simply for 1 month. And that's simply for issues logged on this one website in 1 month, 1,182. Hybrid mode switches, pricing, and fuel tank problems were the biggest issues. The BYD Han, the plug-in hybrid version, not the EV version, had similar problems. 392 claims were logged. BYD's Tang was the third most problematic vehicle with 356 problems. Also the hybrid version of this car. Then, next is the Toyota Crown Kluger, basically the Toyota Kluger of China. That has apparently dashboard cracks, parts wearing, wear and tear. That was fourth most complained about car in China in the month of July. The fifth was the BYD Song Pro plug-in hybrid. So as you can see, 4 of the top 5 here are plug-in hybrids from BYD. In sixth was the Toyota Reese, similar issues to the Toyota Crown Kluger. So, of the 6 most complained about cars in China, 4 were BYDs, 2 were Toyota. Surprisingly, next, in 8th place was the BYD plug-in hybrid Chin Plus. Now, I don't know why so many people in China are buying these plug-in hybrid cars from BYD in particular. I mean, 45% of BYD sales are plug-in hybrids. Just avoid all these problems, people, and you'll get a great car. BYD makes excellent electric cars, really, really good. Plug-in hybrids, yeah, I mean, you've seen the videos. Yes, they do set themselves on fire sometimes, and clearly they're having reliability issues at the same time. You can avoid all of that by getting a much better electric car, fully electric car with BYD's blade battery, with their LFP chemistry, which is extremely unlikely to have any safety concerns or fires. Next was the BMW 3 Series. Now that has drive shaft noise, unusual wear of the brakes, other issues. Anyway, 3 Series was next, followed up by the Denza D9. The Denza is also a BYD car, BYD brand, and it's a relatively new car. So surprising to hear that. Apparently there's a design flaw and air conditioning problems with the Denza D9. This was followed up surprisingly by the BYD Seal, the only purely electric car on this list with 120 customer complaints. And what's very surprising about this is that customers are saying there's a major design flaw with the Seal. Interestingly, sales of the Seal have collapsed in China. Clearly, there's something going on with the BYD Seal. I don't know what that is. Could we see those same issues coming to Australia? I'm going to guess they're probably going to sort those issues out before the cars go into international car market. So if you've ordered a Seal or you want to order a Seal, I don't think it's likely it's going to have this. But whatever, something is going on because not many Seals have been sold in China and sales are going down. The sales are surprisingly poor. I think it's BYD's worst selling car. And it's a brand new model, basically. It's only been out for about 4, 5, 6 months around there. And it's got a new cell-to-body architecture. It's got new innovations. It's actually a really impressive car. It's not selling. Sales have been very surprisingly poor. So what that means is of the 10 most complained about cars in China in the month of July, 7 of the top 10 were BYDs. 6 of those were plug-in hybrids. 1 was the Seal, the BYD Seal. Now, it's actually worth keeping track of these things. I have owned a Chinese car recently. I'm not talking about the BYD Atto 3. I'm talking about another car that I haven't talked about. It hasn't really been that reliable. Had some pretty major issues. Now, don't get me wrong, there's really good products being made in China. A lot of people say that the Tesla vehicles made in China are better than the ones from the other factories. I've heard that from so many sources, I'm inclined to believe it's almost certainly true. So it depends on the model, depends on the actual vehicle. So, BYD's issues, what is going on with them? It appears as though for all these plug-in hybrids, the hybrid mode switch is a problem. Pricing somehow is an issue. I'm not sure what's going on with the pricing. Design flaw with the Seal, design flaw with the Denza D9. So 2 new EVs they're saying have possibly significant design flaws. Not sure what that means exactly. However, it is interesting to see here, though, that 2 of the top 10 are Toyotas and 7 are BYDs. So the hybrid mode switch issue involves customers driving in electric mode with the car, and it suddenly switches to internal combustion mode without the driver's command, even though the battery has plenty of power left in it. BYD has warned of this issue in its vehicle manual, saying that some of its models use atmospheric tanks, which become saturated with high-pressure particles that need to be cleansed by starting internal combustion engine mode in order to prevent the pollution of the air. I don't know what that means, but atmospheric tanks have caused trouble for BYD in May when Great Wall Motors accused it of using atmospheric tanks in Song Plus and Chin Plus plug-in hybrids, because of which the models were non-compliant with pollution standards. So Great Wall Motors and BYD have had a bit of a tit for tat. They've accused each other of different things. BYD admitted that some of its models are using the tanks that Great Wall Motors said they are, but explained that the tanks still meet pollution standards due to the method explained in its manuals. Don't know if that's true, but I mean, BYD is so big now, the biggest car manufacturer in China by a significant margin, especially seeing as they don't have a joint venture. They completely own their own brand, meaning they're far bigger than the second place Volkswagen, who have only joint ventures and only own around 50% of their companies. What does that mean? Are BYD too big now? Are they beyond reproach? I don't know. Last month, the complaints tracker received 18,225 customer feedback complaints, 41.6% more than the same period last year. CarNewsChina.com says that plug-in hybrids made 44.2% of all complaints last month. Gasoline vehicles followed with 44.1%. EVs were third with only 6.7%. Domestic manufacturers dominated the complaints with 63.7% market share. But what's most interesting to me is EVs, right? The percentage of cars sold in China in the month of June for this month was over 30%. But only 6.7% of complaints were for electric cars. Plug-in hybrids were by far the largest ones, 44.2. I mean, the same number of complaints as petrol, gasoline-powered cars, but plug-in hybrids made nowhere near 44% of the market. In fact, they only made about 12% of the market, meaning there's a massively disproportionate amount of complaints for plug-in hybrids. I've been saying on this channel now since I started, avoid a plug-in hybrid. They are the most complicated, unnecessarily complicated cars ever invented in the history of mankind. They are. No one, not even an engineer, who has ever been able to refute these claims that I've made about plug-in hybrids. Overly complicated. Many of these cars have 2 gearboxes. They have all these different things going on. Just avoid them. Clearly, the complaints here, 44% of all complaints for plug-in hybrids, even though they only represent 12% of sales. That is, my friends, pretty good proof that plug-in hybrids are something you should avoid. Now, you can't buy a plug-in hybrid if you don't live in China, so you don't have to worry about that. But it does raise the question, should we be looking at what this issue is with the Seal before you consider buying one? Well, maybe you should. I don't actually really know at this point, but I'm just putting it out there so you have this information. Thanks for watching.